Good morning, man bike. We're doing the Amstar Nostalgia 50 engine breakdown. It's a 1P39FMB engine. There's not too much on the internet about this particular engine number. Apparently it's like a Baja DR50 motor. They also use the on the Amstar Lazer 5, things of that nature. So we're going to break it down. I'm going to put a 72cc BBK on here this morning. So let's get into breaking it down. This is part one. Part two of the video will show reassembly. So let's get into it. First thing you want to do is remove your spark plug. I went ahead and already loosened it. If you didn't already take your spark plug out, the engine is currently out of the bike. Spark plug, the old torch. See, it's running rich, just a tad. Maybe a little much, but anyway, there's your spark plug out of the hole. You should do that first. It'll help and aid in rotating the engine assembly without having too much pressure on the cylinder. So that's out of the way. Have a full array assortment of metric tools available to you. If you have an impact, keep that handy. I have a cordless impact here. I may need that to get certain things loose. Next thing you want to do is check your timing on this. You remove the peepholes. This will give you access to crank the engine over here on the side. And this one here will give you access to the TDC markings. Easy peasy. Look down in there, and I'll see if I can do this carefully without like jostling the camera terribly, drive you all nuts, but I'm going to carefully bring it over. You'll see there's a line there lined up with the notch in the top of the case. You also have the option of removing the 4 bolts that are here to remove the entire right side and stator side of the engine if you wish. So get this back to where it was, more or less. Sorry about the vibration. So you got 4 bolts on here. You can take off the 4 bolts. The outermost bolts, don't take off the ones that holding the engine together. Take off the 4 bolts, this whole side comes off. Once you got that lined up, go ahead and you can start working on removing the front half of the engine, or you can do like I'm going to do and take the carburetor and such off of here. This is a pair system that's going to be coming off because the big bore kit does not have that. Try to salvage your lines if you can. Some of these lines are rough because the engine is basically new. It's got like 160 miles on it. So I'm thinking the gasket should be in good shape. These fittings are tight. So keep in mind, if and when you do the big bore kit, you're losing your power emission system. Not that anybody ever cares about that, but just letting you know. I don't want to cut any hoses because, well, you never know. If I want to put Humpty back together as factory. These 2 bolts on top of the manifold holding the intake on are 10s. Just bust them loose. It should be relatively easy. Again, it's a Chinese engine, copy of a Honda engine, more or less. So the specs on these things are pretty lightweight. You don't have to go crazy when you go to reassemble. Please don't kill it. Everything's aluminum on here, so you'll ruin the threads. Again, you can take the carburetor off the manifold first if you want, or just do like I'm doing and pull these bolts and take this off. This is just to aid me in seeing what's going on. What I'm realizing is at this point, it seems like the right bolt, if you can see it in the camera, is long, but doesn't seem to, seems to drop in further before it threads, which I don't know what's up with that. Guess we'll see after I get the other bolt off. There's some washers, 2 washers on the right, 2 washers on the left. This is factory. I didn't mess with this, so as far as that goes. Bolts appear to be the same length. standard bolts. Yep, same length. So we'll remove this like such. Gasket's still gas in here because I'm an idiot. Anyway, so that's off. Those things to remember. Oh yeah, there's gas. Okay, so that's out of the way. There's still a gasket on top here. It's so new, the gasket just came right off. You'll see how big the hole is here. The hole in this intake is terribly small. I don't even want to know. Actually, you know what? Let's see how big the hole is in the intake. So maybe changing that carburetor to the bigger one, because I put a PZ19 on here, and the factory hole was like 13. I wonder how big this actual intake hole is, because it looks mighty tiny. And it is machined in at 16. I want to say 16. Yes. Great. So all that work to put a PZ19 on really may or may not have made a difference. This tiny hole that you can see in the camera is only 16 millimeters across. So, and it's machined, so you can't modify it to even make it bigger on the factory engine. So the factory carb was measured out at 13 millimeter. The PZ19 obviously is bigger, and even the pipe going down to it was bigger. The intake manifold pipe was 19. The gasket even they had on there was bigger. So, as you can clearly see, that's bigger. This measures up to, I love calipers, they're so handy to have. Let's see. This measured out to 22? 22. So, obviously, yeah, they deliberately restricted this engine. So, that's that. So, a little more information that you're garnering from my videos, I hope. I'm learning as you're learning. That's what I like to keep saying. You have to undo these 4 bolts here. These are 8s or 10s. 10s. So get out your 10 millimeter wrench, ratchet. Doesn't matter what you're using. I broke some of these loose the other day, so if they come off easy, we know why. Yeah. There's only 4 of them. This is for your intake and exhaust valve assembly. Like I said, I broke these loose yesterday. You can loosen them a little bit. On the side plate here, you have a center bolt. Upon loosening that, you'll be able to remove the side cover here, which will have your timing chain in it, but you have to undo that before you can take the actual head off. You can do it any which way you want. This is the way I'm doing it. Try to loosen everything up pre-video shoot. Once you remove this bolt, it's on the back side, dead center, you will see your timing chain on this side. Again, there's a gasket. I'm just going to leave that on there because it doesn't matter. I'll bring the camera around for a minute. There's your timing chain. You'll see a dot here, and there's a notch. If I can lean in a bit. There's an ever so slight notch that's in here underneath this gasket here that it's lined up with. That's how you align your timing. That and using the TDC over here on the T mark. That's your timing, it's all aligned. Do that first before you break down the engine. Make your life a little simpler. Of course, everything is not guaranteed in life, but you try. So get this gasket off so I can get a better shot of that for you. Peel this off gently. Because you never know if you want to reassemble this thing. Suppose I get this all apart and the BBK don't fit right or something. Then what am I going to do? Then we have an issue, right? You can pull it out or leave it in, don't matter. There's a couple jokes I could put in there, but okay, let's bring it back around. Oops, sorry. Let's bring it back around so you can see that timing mark there. See the mark? See the dot? The point is to have it perfectly perpendicular So I might actually have to bring it down a tiny of a hair, but you can clearly see the timing marks on there. I'll put this back. Again, I'm trying not to jostle you guys around too terribly bad today. Now, if you need to turn over the engine, it's a 14. So you gotta find the 14 socket, which I happen to have one handy. Pop that on there. You just need to align it a little bit. Again, everything's semantic, right? It's definitely better than it was. And I don't necessarily always trust these windows, but you know, for argument's sake, they're pretty darn close here. There we go. Okay, timing's aligned. Now we got to bust off these little nuts here. There are bolts. The timing bolts are rumored to be 9s. They are in fact 9s. I went and got a 3/8 drive 9mm. I'm going to use my impact to do this. While simultaneously holding the other side of this thing with the ratchet, because we don't need things jumping around too much on us, right? So let's get the impact gun set up. These impacts are cool. So if we can get in there with all this, I'm going to use the extension. Since I'm removing, I'm not installing, obviously. It's not going to hurt to use an extension. I don't know how much pressure it's going to take, but better to be safe than sorry. Reverse. Not much. That's all it took. That's your timing chain, three bolts on the timing chain. And remove this. Timing's still TDC. These are now finger loose, which is nice. Now there's different schools of thought. You can drain the oil and take out the timing chain, spring-loaded adjuster underneath. Some people do, some don't. I was asking questions online before I did this video today to ask their opinion. Half of them said, well, if you're only doing the top end and not messing with the internals, you can probably get away with leaving the timing adjuster in there. And having tension on the cam is not going to hurt you getting the cam off. So we're going to find out in a minute. If I can get this cam off, there's your 3 little 9mm. There's that. This is not the optimum work area, but we're going to try. Again, just pay attention to your orientation. As you're doing this, take pictures if you have to. Again, I am not an expert, I'm just a guy trying. So now to get the timing chain gear off, use whatever you can to get it off the gear. Loosening it up. There you go. Now, don't worry about it rolling into the engine, because that's not going to happen, because there's a bolt here holding another tensioner type of thing. These guys online make this look easy. Just to get the cam out the hole. Like this. Again, it's however you gotta do it. Still, logistically speaking, once you get it off the chain, it should slide out. And again, don't worry about your chain going bye-bye, because it'll just fall flat. There's your timing. There's your camshaft gear. That's a good thing. I didn't disturb anything, so it still looks like it's TDC, even though it don't matter because I'm putting a whole new assembly in. And what I'll do is I'm going to come around here and show a little picture of this, just so I have a reference point when I put the new one in. Hopefully Humpty Dumpty goes well. You see how the alignment is of the 3 screws. Got your 2 back here, 1 there. You gotta take pictures as you go. Can't possibly friggin' hurt, right? That's undone, so now that's just laying in there. Technically now I can undo these bolts and slide this front piece off without any further drama. Undo these 4. Again, these are 10s. Be mindful of the washer placement. This one has a copper washer on this side. In this bottom left corner. So I'm gonna put these on the floor in the order in which they appear in my head. Top right. Doesn't matter really how you loosen them because I've already cracked them all loose. The torque on these is not a lot. I think it's 13 or 17 foot-pounds, maybe 11. I don't know. Just when you're doing it, common sense, man. Don't go nuts. Again, steel bolts, aluminum pieces. You go making it bigger than it needs to be, you're gonna snap it, and you'll be like, uh-oh. There's nothing worse than putting together a whole thing and snapping a stud. Again, this is the only video I've seen so far. I've seen one other video. It's 10 years old on a 1P39FMB, I think it was. Maybe not even. There's a place doing mods to their bikes before they go. So that's always it too. Here you have a nut. It's also got a screw head. You can loosen it either way. You gotta take that one off also. This holds the head to the actual jug. I think it's a 10 and 12. That's 10. Loosen that one. Now, because it's a new engine, this should come right apart. If you have an older engine, you may have to beat this thing off with a rubber mallet. I've seen in videos. But like I said, this thing is like brand new. I did some pre-measuring. The new 72cc BBK does exactly, size up to this one as far as the distance of the jug. So the studs that I have in here will be fine. That's my big fear about going with a bigger BBK. They may use a different head or something. Because you go too big, then your bolts that hold the whole assembly together may not reach. This is your frontmost 10mm holder. Again, keep that. Hopefully, yeah, see, this is all this came apart. Note the orientation. This cover only goes on one way. Yeah, wiggled it too soon. No, I can do it. Wiggle it gently. Some gasket still on it. There's your valve assembly. Okay, so that's out of the way. Start laying parts in various places out here. There's awesome workspace. Like I said, lay things where you can. Now, jiggle, jiggle. Again, don't go crazy and get all silly. Now, that is your basic head off. Very little oil mess, which is a good thing. Everything is intact, which is a good thing. You could see how tiny these tiny valves are for this assembly. During intermission break, before I put the new BBK on, I'll measure to see if there's any valve difference in the new head I got that came with the kit. But that's how small the valves are for the factory 50cc. Anyway, there's that. That's your factory engine head. Now that's out of the way, you can actually see the 50cc piston. You'll see the nut I was referring to holds this other roller in there, which is good for us because it keeps things from falling the hell out. Set this head off to the side. Get it out of my damn way. Yep, I said a cuss word because it's early. Hopefully this doesn't leak oil all over the floor. We'll find out. Put on a rag over here. Should have done the rags, but shouldn't leak too much. Next, you have your jug. To get your jug off, you have to remove this nut on the side. Also pay attention, there's an O-ring here, there's an O-ring here, there's a alignment dowel here, alignment dowel here. They all have to go back on the same way. Also note that you see the red side of the gasket is this way. Things to pay attention to. And like I said, these, you got to pay attention to all these gaskets and seatings. So actually this is part of the gasket. That's part of the gasket, I think, maybe. Maybe not. No, it's definitely a little seal there. It's rotating. It could be just a washer or a shim, but anything you take off, make sure you put back, okay? So anyway, let's loosen this other 10. Get in here and get this off. This is your timing chain. Again, these are not hella tight, folks, so you don't overthink it. To get this roller out here, you just hold this up. At least according to the videos I saw. There's different ways to do this, but the point is to not drop the roller. Not drop the bacon, folks. That's a unique, because it rolls on that shiny part. It only threads in really on the outer side. That's good to know. Use whatever you got around to get this wheel out, to not have it fall in. There you go. Timing chain's still intact. Notate the orientation of your wheelie. I don't know if it matters, but I ain't gonna be the one. It looks like the lettering was on the inside. Yeah, so it goes in this way. Lettering on the inside. So actually it's smoother on this side. Kind of, well, yeah, let's just go with the lettering faces the inside of the engine. Put that down. A rag right over here. Big bolt came in handy. So now we're down to this thing. Screwdriver, if you can get in there, or a 10mm socket if you have to. Let's see if I can get on it with the screwdriver. Let's just go with the 10mm. It's Y play, right? 11 won't work. 11's too big. Okay, so we'll get the 10. 10. 10 extension. Should get on it. Yeah, it's not even that tight, so. Now, keep in mind, I didn't drain the crankcase oil, so like the oil should be in the crankcase. It shouldn't be any higher than that. So should be able to get this off without having a major oil. Again, I'm just using whatever tools are here. I'm not going crazy. That bolt is identical in length to the other bolt that was up this way going that way. So if you confuse them, it's not going to hurt anything. And that should be it to get your signal. This is your wiring, so get that out of the way. Some people say you may have to tap on this because it is in fact in TDC. Again, just take a visual as to what's going on. Try jiggle, jiggle. I'll leave the gaskets intact for now. Nothing else holding this on but gravity, right? Yeah. So we have a gravity reducer. Maybe that'll help the situation here. They're alignment dowels, so you have to be careful with them. Let's try this. Yeah, that'll help loosen it up. Just grab them and kind of gently. There we go. See? So there's top left, bottom right. Top left. Bottom right. And that can actually cause enough friction probably to keep the engine right where we're sitting. Sorry, the cylinder jug. What else holding it? That's what the guys do online. At least the gasket's coming off. Get that out of the way, I guess. I mean, these gaskets are like brand new, man. Like, look, it's clean as a whistle. Put that off to the side. I mean, we are literally TDC'd up here. So, if you want to know what TDC looks like, that's pretty much it. Okay, yeah, see there is an O-ring here. Don't lose the baby O-ring, bottom left corner. Try to wreck the baby O-ring. Organizational skill here. Setting things up on the floor so I know where they go. I just wish this thing would just come off. God only knows how long ago this engine was made. There it goes. We have a ting ting noise. There we go. Okay. Carefully wiggle it off this piston, which is carbonated, as you can see. That is that. The gasket ripped slightly, but that's okay. You'll see there's alignment dowels back here. This is top right, bottom right. Top right, bottom right. There's your crankshaft, con rod, piston. See how small it is? It falls right between the... Yeah, we don't like things falling like that. Yeah. Men's humor there. Slide out your dowels and save them. That's your jug. Also, I noticed on the front when I was pulling it out, there's one more of these. It's like a sleeve, it just sits there. So I'm glad that came out so I could actually see it. And I O-ring and a washer here. So again, I'm learning as I go. Bunch of little bits on here I didn't even notice. Make sure that all goes back together properly. This has to come out. I don't know if they're included with the kit, but I'm not risking it. So you see that goes there. Put that there. It goes with that funky O-ring. Okay, so that's your basic cylinder and jug. And that's out of the way. I need a bigger boat. Oh good, I got an extra rag laying here, so that's convenient. Okay. Gently remove your gasket material. Don't let it get inside your engine. critical, crucial part of it. It's coming off fairly easy. Oops, off the camera. Sorry, folks. Again, what they recommend doing when you get this off before you start doing this is to plug this hole with a rag so nothing gets down in there, because you don't want nothing inside your crankcase that don't belong. And also, you'll see there's another O-ring seal that sits right on there. See, I would have never seen that. It's got actually got a wedged edge on it. So I'm gonna leave that puppy right there to remind me. Take this off carefully. If it comes off, it may not come out. It may just be. It just seems like it's there. I'm not gonna ruin it. It ain't disturbing me any. Again, I have a scraper kit I bought. It has both metal razor blades as well as plastic razor blades, which is kind of unique. So, okay. Anyway, I will scrape this on the intermission brake. Let me get the circlip out. These are old school clips in this one apparently, because I don't even see something to grab. Yeah, there's something there. Just gotta figure it out. Anyway, grab your clip and try not to move your connecting rod too much while you're doing this. You might need a pick to do this or something. There's really nothing to grab on these, on this factory cylinder. I don't know what they were thinking. The different style of thing, clip retainer. Wearing contacts does not help the situation. Not at all, bud. See the connecting rod. Gotta be away, right? Oh, there it is on this side. I can see it real easy. Easier. Real easy. Spinning around this side. I can see it on this side. There's going to be residual oil. Don't stress out, folks. It's oil. You're not going to die. Definitely not normal clips. Nothing normal here. The biggest problem I have is with my contacts in, I can't see close up well because I'm farsighted. I'm trying to figure out how to see what I'm doing without seeing what I'm doing. And now I can see the edge of the clip, but I'm not sure the best procedure to get this squared away here. out the bolt under the clip. Going with the needle nose pliers. Slight twisting motion. Got it. These are more of a C-clip. See, not as easy to get out as a circlip with an E in it. Anyway, so that's out. Lift this back up. Push the wrist pin out, hopefully. Not flexing too much here. A little wiggle jiggle. A little wiggle jiggle. There you go. There's your removal of that. I always put these right back in here because, well, just what I do. So that's your 50cc piston. On part 2, I'll show the comparison before I put Humpty back together. But there's part 1 breakdown of your 1P39FMB Amstar Nostalgia motor, also known as possibly Baja 50, Lazer 50, whatever other flavors you might have. Again, I'm glad I took a video for all this because, again, this has to go in there. Anyway, there you go. Mayhem Bike, part 1.